Welcome to what is happening in today with Crowning Thoughts. Santiago DC Maria Truth Speaker.
Explosive Epstein leaks unveil Trump's hidden ties and alleged misconduct. The troubling revelations you need to know. Listen up. Everyone here is the two gossip stories we need to know. This is one of those stories that cuts right to the core of power, secrets, and accountability in America. Fresh leaks from Jeffrey Epstein's world, including shocking audio tapes and emails, are painting a disturbing picture of Donald Trump's past, complete with claims of affairs, womanizing schemes, and knowledge of Epstein's dark activities. These aren't just rumors. They're backed by recordings and documents released in late 2025, right as Trump settled back into the White House for his second term. Experts are calling it explosive, and for good reason. It raises massive questions about what Trump knew when he knew it, and how his personal life intertwined with one of the most notorious sex offenders in history. We're going to break this down piece by piece, with all the facts laid out clearly, because you deserve the full truth without any spin. This isn't about sensationalism. It's about understanding how the powerful often shield themselves while the rest of us demand justice. First, let's set the stage so you fully grasp who Jeffrey Epstein was and why these leaks matter. Epstein was a wealthy financier who rubbed shoulders with the elite presidents, princes, billionaires, but he was also a convicted sex offender. In 2008, he pleaded guilty to procuring a minor for prostitution in Florida, serving just 13 months in a lenient deal that let him work from his office during the day. By 2019, federal charges accused him of running a sex trafficking ring involving dozens of underage girls, some as young as 14. He died in jail that year, officially ruled a suicide, but conspiracy theories swirl because of his connections. His longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving 20 years for helping recruit and groom victims. Epstein's Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands and his New York mansion were hubs for these alleged crimes, where powerful men allegedly partied. Now, in November 2025, the House Oversight Committee pushed by Democrats like Rep. Robert Garcia released over 23,000 pages of Epstein's emails, texts, and other records after a long battle with Republicans who initially blocked full disclosure. Trump himself flipped in late 2025, posting on Truth Social that Republicans should release everything because we have nothing to hide. But these documents, they hide plenty, and Trump's name pops up over 1,000 times. Now, dive into the heart of it. The leaked audio tapes from August 2017, recorded by author Michael Wolff while researching his book Fire and Fury about Trump's first term. Wolff, a journalist known for insider scoops, interviewed Epstein in his Manhattan townhouse for nearly 2 hours. Epstein, speaking freely, claimed he was Trump's closest friend for 10 years. Picture this: two rich guys from New York's high society, bonding over deals, parties, and women in the 1980s and 90s. Epstein painted Trump as charming and always fun, with extraordinary salesmanship, the kind of guy who could sell ice to Eskimos. But then it gets dark. Epstein alleged Trump was a serial cheater who loved to F the wives of his best friends, calling it the best thrill. He described a wild scheme where Trump would invite male pals to his Trump Tower office, grill them about their sex lives, things like, "Do you like having sex with your wife? How often do you have sex with her? You must have had a better F than your wife, tell me about it," all while their wives listened secretly on speakerphone. Then, Trump would offer the guys hookups with beauty pageant contestants, like from the Hawaiian Tropic Contest, saying, "We can go upstairs or tomorrow, come over. We can have a great time. I promise you it's just me and you." The twist: Epstein said Trump used the wives' anger over their husbands' supposed betrayals to seduce the wives themselves. It's a calculated betrayal, turning trust into conquest. Epstein didn't stop there. He claimed he and Trump teamed up to pick up women in Atlantic City casinos during Trump's casino-owning days. Epstein would distract the boyfriend or husband by inviting him to dinner, while Trump swooped in, put his arm around the woman, and with a bodyguard's help. Whoosh, take the girl away. One specific story: Trump allegedly took a woman to the Egyptian room in a casino, emerged afterward bragging, "It was great. The only thing I really like to do is F the wives of his best friends. That is just the best. And here's a bombshell that hits close to home. Epstein boasted that the first time Trump slept with Melania was on my plane. That's the infamous Lolita Express, Epstein's private Boeing 727, nicknamed for its alleged role in ferrying underage girls. Melania Nos, a Slovenian model, met Trump in 1998. They married in 2005. If true, this ties Trump's personal life directly to Epstein's jet, a symbol of his trafficking empire. Epstein also alleged Trump cheated on his first wife Ivana and second wife Marla Maples with a black girl, using a derogatory term, and bragged about it. Plus, an unverified claim, Trump had an affair with a female politician right in the White House during his first term. That's the White House affair. Angle not just any fling, but one in the seat of power, raising questions about ethics and security. These tapes aren't isolated. They're backed by flight logs showing Trump flew on Epstein's planes at least 7 times in the 90s, including with his family. Photos exist of them together at parties, like a 1997 Victoria's Secret event. Epstein's address book listed 14 numbers for Trump, including Melania's. Their fallout. Around 2004, over a bidding war for a Palm Beach mansion, Trump won it for $41 million, flipped it later for profit. Trump claims he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after hearing he hit on a teenage staffer, but Epstein told Wolf a different story. Trump asked him to resign as a member. Then there are the emails, adding fuel to the fire. In a 2011 message to Maxwell, Epstein wrote, "I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim likely Virginia Giuffre spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." Giuffre, who worked at Mar-a-Lago as a teen locker room attendant, accused Epstein and Maxwell of abusing her, but always said Trump wasn't involved in any wrongdoing. Still, this implies Trump was around Epstein's home during shady times and stayed silent. In a 2019 email to Wolf, Epstein said, "Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. The girls, that's code for Epstein's victims, suggesting Trump knew about the underage trafficking and even urged Maxwell to quit recruiting." Another 2019 self-email. "Trump knew of it and came to my house many times during that period. He never got a massage." Massages were often euphemisms for sexual acts in Epstein's world. There's more intrigue in 2015 to 2016 emails between Epstein and Wolf. During Trump's 2016 campaign, Wolf suggested Epstein could blackmail Trump by leveraging their past, saying, "If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt." Epstein asked for help crafting a debate answer for Trump about their ties. In 2016, Wolf offered Epstein an interview to talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. This shows Epstein positioning himself as a Trump insider, even as scandals brewed. To be completely fair, because truth demands balance, Trump has never been charged in the Epstein case. Giuffre and another accuser, Annie Farmer, have said they saw no misconduct from him. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt calls these selectively leaked smears by Democrats to tarnish Trump, pointing out he distanced himself decades ago and cooperated with investigations. Trump himself said in 2019 he wasn't a fan of Epstein and hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. No smoking gun proves Trump participated in crimes with minors, but the sheer volume of mentions, over 1,000 in the documents, and the timing raise eyebrows. Why did Epstein obsess over Trump? Was it leverage? And in 2026, with Trump back in power, why resist full file releases initially? This goes beyond gossip. It's about trust in leadership. Epstein's web-ensnared figures like Bill Clinton, who flew on the plane 26 times, denying island visits. Prince Andrew settled a lawsuit with Giuffre and others. But Trump's role stands out because he's president again. Polls show most Americans want all Epstein files released with victims' names protected. Victims like Giuffre, who passed in 2024, and farmer deserve closure, not political games. If Trump knew about the girls and stayed mum, it erodes faith in the system. History shows Epstein's 2008 plea deal orchestrated by Trump's former labor secretary Alex Acosta let him off easy, highlighting how wealth buys leniency. In Trump's first term, Acosta resigned over backlash. Now, with these leaks, calls grow for the DOJ and FBI to unseal everything, including a July 2025 FBI memo noting images and videos of victims. Folks, this is why we fight for transparency, to hold the powerful accountable, no matter their party. These revelations expose a world where elites play by different rules, leaving victims in the shadows. We can't let that stand. Demand answers, push for justice, and remember, in democracy, no one is above scrutiny. Shocking revelations. Epstein documents uncover Trump's alleged links to Putin through disgraced financiers network. Folks, buckle up, because we're diving deep into a story that's ripping through the headlines like a storm no one saw coming. The latest batch of Jeffrey Epstein files, released in late 2025 by congressional investigators, is shining a harsh light on some truly disturbing connections between Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and the shadowy world of espionage and influence peddling. This isn't just tabloid gossip. These are real emails, documents, and memos from Epstein's estate that paint a picture of a convicted sex offender who positioned himself as a go-between for powerful figures, including offering Russians insider tips on how to handle Trump. Experts are calling it explosive, and it's raising massive red flags about foreign interference, potential blackmail, and whether America's leadership has been compromised. We're going to unpack this step by step, with all the facts on the table, because in a true democracy, the people deserve to know every detail, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. I'll lay it out plainly, using everyday language, so you can follow along and see why this matters for our country's future. Let's start with the basics to make sure everyone's on the same page. Jeffrey Epstein was a wealthy financier who built his fortune through mysterious means, rubbing elbows with the global elite from presidents to princes and billionaires. But beneath that glamour, he was a monster, convicted in 2008 for procuring a minor for prostitution, and later charged in 2019 with running a massive sex trafficking ring that exploited dozens of underage girls. He died in jail that year, ruled a suicide, though questions linger. His partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving 20 years for her role in recruiting and grooming victims. Epstein's homes, his New York mansion, Palm Beach estate, and private Caribbean island were playgrounds for the powerful, where allegations of abuse ran rampant. Now, in 2025, after years of legal battles and political tug-of-war, the House Oversight Committee has dumped over 20,000 pages of Epstein's emails, plus millions more documents from the Department of Justice. This flood of info came after Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act in November 2025, forcing the release, despite initial resistance from Trump's administration. Trump himself flipped his stance during his 2024 campaign, promising to release it all. But once back in office, he called it a hoax. Why the change? That's where the dark secrets start to emerge now. Zoom in on the Trump-Putin angle, because this is where the files get really chilling. One standout email from June 2018, just weeks before Trump's controversial Helsinki summit with Putin, shows Epstein trying to insert himself as a Trump whisperer for the Russians. He wrote to Thorbjørn Jagland, a former Norwegian prime minister and then head of the Council of Europe. I think you might suggest to Putin that Lavrov can get insight on talking to me. Lavrov is Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister and a key Putin ally. Epstein was basically offering insider knowledge on Trump to Russia's top diplomat, implying he had the scoop on how to navigate the unpredictable president. This wasn't a one-off. Epstein claimed he'd previously dished on Trump to Vitaly Churkin, Russia's UN ambassador who died in 2017. Churkin was known for his aggressive defense of Russian interests, and Epstein's emails suggest he was feeding him intel on Trump's policy moves. Why would a sex offender like Epstein have this kind of access? It points to his vast network of foreign contacts, which he bragged about using to influence global affairs, but it goes deeper and darker. British media outlets like the Mail on Sunday, citing intelligence sources, have reported that Epstein's entire operation might have been a giant honey trap. For foreign spies, especially Russian ones, compromat is the Russian term for compromising material like secretly recorded sexual encounters used to blackmail targets. Epstein's setup, luring powerful men with young women and girls, possibly filming them, fits that mold perfectly. Commentators in European papers, such as Italy's Corriere della Sera, argue Epstein elevated the KGB's old tricks to new heights, potentially on behalf of Russian and Israeli intelligence. A declassified FBI memo from the 2025 releases amps this up. It alleges Epstein had ties to Mossad, Israel's spy agency, and that a Jewish group called Chabad Lubavitch, which has deep Russian roots, tried to hijack Trump's first term. Chabad's former chief rabbi in Russia, Beryl Lazar, is described as a close Putin advisor used to monitor Russian Jewish oligarchs. The memo claims Trump was compromised by Israel. But the Russian threads are unmistakable. Putin's regime could have benefited from any dirt Epstein gathered on Trump. To explain how this ties directly to Trump, let's look at the history. Trump and Epstein were buddies for years in New York's social scene. Flight logs show Trump hitched rides on Epstein's private jet, the infamous Lolita Express, at least 7 times in the 1990s, sometimes with his family. Photos capture them at parties, like a 1997 Victoria's Secret event. Epstein's address book had 14 Trump numbers, including Melania's. They fell out around 2004 over a real estate deal, and Trump claims he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after hearing he propositioned a teenage staffer. But the files tell a different story. In a 2019 email to author Michael Wolff, who wrote Fire and Fury. About Trump's White House, Epstein wrote, "Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. The girls." That's Epstein speak for his victims, implying Trump knew about the underage trafficking and even urged Maxwell to halt recruiting. Another email has Epstein boasting Trump spent hours at my house with Virginia Giuffre, a key accuser who says she was trafficked but cleared Trump of wrongdoing. Still, her presence raises questions. What was discussed? Was compromat involved? Epstein's brother, Mark, adds fuel in a viral email exchange where he suggests Epstein ask if Putin has compromising photos of Trump and Clinton together. This echoes long-standing fears from the 2016 election, where U.S. intelligence found Putin preferred Trump and meddled to help him win. Remember the Steele dossier. It alleged Russian dirt on Trump, including unverified claims of golden showers in Moscow. While Mueller's probe found no criminal conspiracy, Trump's behavior, like siding with Putin over U.S. intel in Helsinki, fueled suspicions. The Epstein files revive this. If Epstein was feeding Russians Trump insights, was it reciprocal? Did Putin get leverage through Epstein's traps? A 2015 to 2016 email chain shows Wolff advising Epstein on how to blackmail Trump by leveraging their past, either hang him or save him for a debt. Epstein even sought help crafting Trump's debate answers on their ties. This screams influence peddling. For fairness, let's balance this out. Truth requires it. Trump has never been charged in the Epstein case. Victims like Giuffre and Annie Farmer say they saw no misconduct from him. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt blasts these as selectively leaked. Smears by Democrats, insisting Trump cut ties decades ago and cooperated with probes. Trump's team points out he authorized Epstein's 2019 indictment, though his first AG, Alex Acosta, gave Epstein that lenient 2008 deal. No concrete proof ties Trump to crimes or direct Putin compromat. Epstein was a liar and manipulator, so his claims could be boasts. Republicans on the Oversight Committee released the full trove to counter Democratic cherry-picking, subpoenaing figures like Bill and Hillary Clinton too. Clinton flew on Epstein's plane 26 times, and emails show Epstein denying Clinton visited the island despite Trump's accusations. Yet, the volume is overwhelming. Trump mentioned over 1,000 times in the files. Unverified allegations include a limo driver's claim of Trump and Epstein raping a girl who later died suspiciously, and another woman's tip about being trafficked to Trump at 13, with a baby killed. An FBI memo alleges Epstein offered a reporter photos of Donald and girls in bikinis in my kitchen. These are serious but unproven investigations are needed. In January 2026, the DOJ released 3 million more pages, including videos and photos, with Deputy AG Todd Blanche calling it disturbing but not warranting new probes. Commentators demand more. Why delay releases? Is national security at risk if Putin holds leverage? Historically, this fits patterns of foreign meddling. Russia's 2016 interference aimed to sow chaos. Epstein's web could be an extension. Trump's pro-Putin stances praising him as smart. Downplaying Ukraine invasion makes sense if compromise exists. His 2025 administration approved UAE tech access after a $500M Trump family deal, showing blurred lines. For ordinary Americans, this erodes trust. While we face economic woes, elites like Epstein enabled potential betrayals. This scandal demands action. Full transparency, independent probes, laws barring compromised leaders. We can't let dark secrets fester. Our democracy hangs in the balance. Stay vigilant, question everything, and fight for truth. If you also support democracy and freedom, feel free to join me in this fight. Click follow, click subscribe, and join me. Divided we fall, and together we can knock down mountains. Through unity is the only way we can make a change. I speak the truth. I share a bit of history. I share what is happening. I try to keep everyone updated with what is going on. I used to write for Newsbreak, but then I went on my own so that I can speak the truth and warn people freely without rules. Because you deserve the truth. I do not consider myself independent news. I am just a truth speaker with a mix of everything. I also share about God. I appreciate your time. I do consider myself independent in the fact that no one controls my narrative. I will not say what everyone else wants to hear. That is not why I created this movement. It is either the truth or nothing. Thank you. Stay safe. God bless. I love you all. Crowning Thoughts. True Speaker. Copyright 2025 by Santiago D.C. Maria. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution.